will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Maine, so long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, to the best of your abilities, the duties incumbent on you as moderator of the Maine School Administrative District Number 55 budget meeting on April 30th, 2018, according to the Constitution and laws of the state of Maine.
I do.
At this time, Bill will sign, and I will sign, and we'll hand it to Becky Connors, and Bill will start the meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight. I'm Bill Stockmeyer, and I just want to be sure if you're a registered voter that you have registered with your clerk, and you should have a written ballot for Article 14, the additional local funds article, which by law we vote on by written ballot. So if you don't have a yellow written ballot, you should go back to your clerk and make sure you get one. Everyone good? Okay. Next, I just want you to know that, is there anyone in the audience who's not a registered voter? Anyone there? Okay, in fact, that's fine. Okay. I wanted to know I've already sworn in the ballot clerk, so we can proceed without having to take care of that. I'd like to establish the rules of procedure. The rules of procedure are that we will generally follow the rules of the Maine Moderator's Manual and applicable provisions of Maine law. With a couple of modifications. These are the modifications. First, there'll be no amendments to amendments because the amendments will all be on dollar amounts and we'll get hopelessly confused. We'll deal with each amendment in turn, and after it's dealt with, we will allow other amendments. Please understand this does not prevent you from making your amendment. Everyone will have an opportunity to make another amendment after we deal with the first amendment, if there are any. And second, by law, we'll have a written ballot on Article 14. Any objection to the rules of procedure? Great, so those will be our rules. And now I'd like to recognize the Superintendent Carl Landry to present the budget.
At this time, if I could have the board come sit in the front row here, please.
They want to get back. Somebody's going to take it out.
So before we start, I just want to say last year I had a microphone, a laser pointer, and a clicker, and I couldn't work all three things. I only had two hands. So this year, Suzanne Day gave me an all-in-one clicker and laser pointer. So I'm super proud of that, and hopefully it works out here tonight. Teasing aside, I'd like to thank Suzanne Day, Pickett McKenzie, who put a great deal of time and effort into this budget and the presentation you see behind you. Folks that know me know that I didn't make this PowerPoint. I don't know how to make those slides like that or all the up and downs you're going to see. So we had a lot of help in terms of entering. Becky entered a lot of the information as well. Our full administrative team weighed in. Our board has heard this several times and given valuable insight. Our select boards heard it one time, gave valuable insight, and I actually have, until Rob, I hope Ron Sylvia shows up, I have a Ron Sylvia slide up here coming, so I'll have to buy my time to see if I can get Ron to get here tonight. The presentation tonight will go like this. We'll have article by article expenses with some of the bigger changes. Then we'll have a revenue recap, and at the end, how it impacts the local taxpayer. And then this year, we've had 17 articles in the past. We'll go up to 20. There'll be some new ones. I'll take you through the additional articles at the end. Then I'll turn it back over to Bill Stockmeyer, who will take you through the voting process. So, without further ado, the 2018-19 school budget. First article, Article 1, you see here up about $90,000. This is regular instruction. Some of the major changes in this article, addition of alternative education program here at our middle school. That's new. We originally had it at the high school. We are adding that program here at our middle school. One of the few reductions here in this year's budget, part-time teacher reduction is a half-time reduction of a foreign language teacher at our high school. The language, if you're wondering, is French, and it is purely an enrollment-driven reduction. We don't have a lot of students taking French at this point, so it's a reduction in a half-time staff member in that subject area. You'll see salary and benefit increases throughout. We are negotiating 2 contracts at this time, one with the teachers and one with the educational technicians, but you will see salary and benefit increases on every single slide. Additionally, I had a community member write me some questions. I thought they were very well thought out, terrific questions, and it made me realize that the budget book, Judy, if I can borrow this, the budget book isn't exactly the same as the PowerPoint, so I'll hopefully fill in some of the blanks that were in the budget books and some of the questions that you may have. Additionally, I believe this PowerPoint, Suzanne Day, is online at this time, or will be shortly. This PowerPoint, it is currently online, so if you want to look at it after the fact, it's on SAP55.org. So there's Article 1. Article 2, special education, you see a significant increase here. I think the board is aware of that. I think the administrative team is aware of that. We have the addition of a resource room teacher here at our middle school to better meet the needs of the children that are struggling to access their education. We also have additional educational technicians included in this budget. The biggest change you'll see if you're looking at your budget book, $75,000 increase in contingency from $125,000 to $200,000. I'll talk about that for a moment. In 5 years, we haven't spent the contingency fund. It's there in case, but we did have a student receive an out-of-district placement. Believe it or not, it wouldn't take very long for this district to go through $200,000 in the area of special ed. Contingency is not something we typically expend. We have not. One time, I think, in the area of maintenance, and I'll get to that explanation when we get to that slide, but we do not spend contingency funds. They're there truly in case. They're taken out of fund balance, not from the local taxpayer. They sit. If we don't have any expenses that are critical that we can't meet the needs, back to fund balance, back to contingency. And for 5 years, we've done that process. Again, salary and benefit increases. My favorite one, the one that always receives rave reviews, this is our vocational programming. We don't pay $1 to send kids to Lake Region, so there is no money expended in Article 3, career and technical education. Our kids go to Lake Region for nothing. Article 4, other instruction. Athletics, extracurricular, JROTC is in this line, mentors, advisors, things of that nature. Minimal increase, anticipated stipend increase on the order of $7,000. That is our athletics, extracurricular. Article 5, student and staff support. So you might have seen a major increase here, $123,000. You saw it was in equipment and repairs, maybe in your budget book. It is not in repairs, it is in equipment. The major changes in this line are network switches to increase reliability and security. That's to the tune of $55,600. That is in the 123. That's in, I think, tech equipment and repairs in your budget book. Out of that, 70% we're hoping for, about $39,000 to come from E-rate money. If we do not receive the E-rate money, we are not going to buy the switches. If we get approved for the E-rate money, we are going to buy the switches. If you can believe it, some of the switches are for our middle school here, which is only 10 years old. So I meant technology and computer and switches, not a strength, but I think those things get old quickly. We'd be looking to replace them here and at the high school. We have done our elementary school. So that's $55,600. The other major increase is laptops. These silver MacBook Airs. I think they're slightly smaller, but for students in grades 3 through 6. So 7 through 12 have had those for a long time. Actually, Mike Lane and Chris Hughes are sitting right here, our middle school principal and assistant principal. People love it when I call them in the audience. I made them stand up and all that. But, so our middle school principal and assistant principal had a wonderful evening here, invited parents for test-taking skills and strategies. Majority of the parents, when they left, said, geez, I can't believe my kid needs to take the test on the old white MacBook. Maggie Hoxie, who said, his kid is like the mayor, everybody, Maggie. She came to a class, observed a class. Laptops were dying, chargers were dying. The replacement with silver computers actually saved us some repair money on the white Apples that are 12 years-ish old. So replacing its time, equal access for grades 3 through 12 to better technology. That is the major increase, not repair line. So just to be clear out of your book. Article 6, System and Administration. I'd like to take credit that we're really cutting and slashing here. That's not the case. I mention this every year. In small articles like this, and $500,000 doesn't seem really small, but the change or 1 or 2 people, personnel and health benefits, or people in the office really makes a substantial difference. So that's due straight to personnel changes, health insurance coverage. That's not due to any major reduction. So if you're looking to give credit or you're down with there's less spending there, it's just changes in personnel. Article 7, school administration, again another one. It looks flat. There are in fact salary and benefit increases built in, but a cost reduction was in our phone system, about $4,000. So a couple years ago we went from all copper lines, which is one-to-one, they run the wire to the phone, to a PRI. And if anybody pushes me on what a PRI is, I'm going to pass the microphone really fast, but it brings in like 23 phone lines at once, so we don't pay for an individual line. So an overall savings of about $4,000 a year on the Fairpoint billing. So coming to fruition there. Article 8, transportation, there's the $30,000. People that come every year, a lot of familiar faces. Sacopee and Ledgmere goes up about $30,000 a year. We contract bus services. There, in fact, is above the Ledgmere increase. There is another change worth noting here. We have 2 district vans. You may have seen them, white Dodge Caravans. They have the emblem on the side, Sacopee Valley. Those have been working wonderfully well. So we added in the budget to add 1 more driver in case the need should arise with students, and therefore we're able to reduce private source transportation like taxis and other things because we would do it ourselves. So it's about a wash, but I think it's a very great thing that we're doing, transitioning to private transportation in-house with our caravans. It's been super, super successful. Article 9, facilities. So here's another concern. If you look back a couple of years, this is like $2 million, and I think actually Rob Hurd, I'll pick on him. I'll try and call on everyone. Maybe I'll get Joanne to come and speak in a little while. I'll call on everyone out here before this is over. But Rob Hurd mentioned, I think, last year the budget for, hey, we're not doing less to our facilities. I think everybody's proud of the work that we're doing. We are not. The reduction takes place, I think in the $2 million year, we had put $300,000 of fund balance to finishing the walls at our high school. If you've driven by the high school, all new curtain walls, Sue Melanson instrumental in writing a revolving renovation grant for that, and the board decided to use $300,000 of fund balance to finish the project. Came out great, new heaters, new walls. That's why it looks less as you look back over time, but in fact this year we are going up about $100,000. We are continuing the 10-year facility plan, Rob. Don't worry, we're moving forward with our facilities. It is a priority. The board's been super supportive, so that's been great. Here is the major security. So I got that question a few times. What's going on with security? Why is that up? I think it's from 34 to, help me out, 102 or something in your book. It's 2 additional school resource officers, $68,000 increase. Now, to be fair to this room, I think it's public knowledge. The board is very supportive of having maybe an SRO in every school. I have to tell you, the way the world is right now, very difficult to acquire school resource officers. There aren't a lot of officers available. We've been in touch with multiple departments, and I'm not sure that we'll get them at the price of $34,000 again. So it's something the board will continue to work on, we'll continue to consider, but that's the increase in security that you see in your budget book. Additionally, contingency here went from 25 to 50. I think, like I said, we spent it one time. I think it was in that same year that we did the walls up at the high school. We don't intend to spend that $50,000, but if you can believe it, a boiler going or something big happening to the roof, it wouldn't take long to go through $50,000 of contingency. So that's another increase in this line. Article 10, debt service. So every year I say this first line is it's like a non-line. It's a pass-through of money. The state says they give us $1.1 million or $1.038 million to fund this middle school in its entirety. Peggy McKenzie over there writes down that we got $1 million, writes it in, writes it out. We never touch the money. We act like we got it. That we are not actually down $64,000. That is not true. We're just recording $64,000 less as it goes across. So every year I say this, I feel like I'm pulling things and cards and back and forth. It's not. I'm just trying to be upfront, and sometimes you sound a little greasy doing that. That is not a legitimate decline. That's just a pass-through amount. The locally funded ADA, that's our elevator project, is in fact down $3,400. That's the interest on our elevator project, 110 of principal. It was 25 of interest, down to 22. It will continue to get progressively lower as we progress through the 10 years. The revolving renovation grant I just mentioned, that was a $1 million grant. The state forgave $473,000. So that was, I know the select boards, do we pursue grants, do we look at it? That was a big one. It was almost $500,000 of free money from the state. That $527,000 is interest-free over 10 years, so $52,700 a year. And you got all updated walls and heaters at your high school. So a total decrease of 67, but not really, a total decrease of 3,400 from that pass-through. Article 11, all other expenditures. Here's another confusing one. Talking a bill, creating the budget. It looks like we're spending $35,000 less on food service. That's not true either. You're going to see Article 16, which is a brand new article. So the state DOE for an apples to apples. What good students, this is great. I see everybody flipping Article 16, tremendous. So the state has suggested we do apples to apples comparisons. So we are not including the transfer out to food service. We do in fact spend about $500,000 on food service every year. It is the transfer out to make it whole. Food service here, as in most district, runs in the red. We take $35,000 and say, okay, you're now in the black. The state has requested that we move that from Article 11 to Article 16. So that is not a decrease, that's a move in article of $35,000. And there they are all listed out. So another thing that I should mention, a couple of things that I should mention in fact, and I'll get to it in revenue, so I won't steal my own thunder, but for those of you that like it numerically listed, there's article by article the cost. 14,258. If you wanted to be a little slippery up here, you could say, oh, we're 14,258, but we included the school nutrition because, to be fair, the local taxpayers do have to pay this $35,000 to make the 14,293. And if you're looking at your budget book, it's one of the first pages that has the summary of expenses, and we also include the $35,000 there to be fair to the local folks. So now we're going to go through, Ron here yet, Ron? Okay, so now we're going to go through our revenue slides and how we're going to pay for this. When I presented to the select board, Ron asked what happened last year. So thought this was a good slide to put in. There was the original amount from the state. It was down $567,000. It was looking like we were going to be way up, but everybody thought we'd get more money. We did in fact get more money, but here it is broken down so everybody knows. State subsidy when it first came out, $4.913 million. So in our budget, the same talk here that night, we said we think we're going to get more money. We'll put $280 of anticipated, $70,000 of fund balance usage to defray taxes, and $40,000 of seed money for a total of, we'll defray from the local taxpayers $390. And we probably couldn't have done any better. We were pretty close. It was actually, we got $371,000 more. So we were only short about $18,000. So we almost hit it right on the nose. Went from $390 and we gained actual state subsidy 5284 from the 5913. We gained $371. So we couldn't do that again. If we did budgets for 50 years, we probably won't come that close to guessing what the state's going to give us. I don't know how we did it. I don't know how we pulled it off. I'll give credit to the board because I'm not sure how that came to fruition, but we were pretty close, so that worked out well. So that slide's for Ron. You can pass it along that I put it up for him. That's what happened last year. But we really care about what we're here for tonight is how we're going to pay for the 14,293. So here it is listed all out proportionally. The rectangles are Article 1, 2, 4, 5, and so on. The size then does indicate the dollar amounts. There's our state subsidy from 17-18, sitting on the right-hand side. We did have increased state subsidy this year to the tune of $340,000, which is tremendous. State agency client is something that we bill for students that are state agency clients, wards of the state. This year we happen to have far fewer students coming in into 18-19 that are state agency clients, and we are also not billing for main care. I went through this whole thing with the audience last year. The reduction of state agency client students and not billing for main care, there'll be about a $267,000 reduction in state agency client main care revenue. But this year with the $340 more from the state, covers the $267 and the Ron Sylvia slide shortfall of about $19,000. So net, when all said and done, if we look at last year to this year, state agency client main care, the gap, we're about $52,000 better this year than we were a year ago. And I practice the speech for people, it's so many ins and outs and this and that, but that's what happened. That's the math of how we got to where we are tonight. The rest is pretty straightforward. That's the worst slide, or the most confusing slide in the whole piece. State agency client ed techs, that's the one the year we got caught. We had students that were state agency clients that came. If you don't build the expense and revenue in, you get the revenue, but you can't spend the money because you didn't build the expense. So that is for 4 educational technicians in case the state agency client students come. If the students don't come, we don't hire the ed techs, we don't spend the money, we don't get that revenue. But if they come, we're ready, we can hire the educational technician to support the student, and the revenue will come from the state of Maine to pay for it. So that's $146,000. I should have worn my glasses. That's a Gary McNeil. Lease for computers. I didn't mention on the slide. I didn't steal my own thunder. That's Article 5, student and staff support. It's the silver computers to the tune of $63,000 for the kids from grades 3 to 6. We are going to pay for that out of fund balance. So that would not be on the local taxpayers. We'll use fund balance to provide computers and equitable access for grades 3 through 6. 2 SROs, I've talked to the board about this, and we've had a frank conversation. There's $68,000. They are a 1-year contract. I am worried about being able to hire them. I am worried about being able to hire them at the price of $34,000 each, and I am worried about the use of fund balance to pay for them. As our fund balance or savings account shrinks, I'm worried what happens to those SROs as we move forward. But I think in this day and age, in these times, I think the board's made an excellent decision that I'm supportive of. Those are just some things to think about going forward. That $68,000 is out of fund balance. Capital projects, that's the 10-year facility project. Those are one-time events. We're using $100,000 of fund balance there to defray impact to the local taxpayer, paying things, tennis courts, heaters, roofs, siding, things that I think the select boards and community are supportive of upkeeping our buildings. Vans, I mentioned earlier in the transportation slide. We have 2 vans right now and 2 drivers. There are 2 more built into this budget, $25,000 each. Again, fund balance, those would be a one-time. We buy them. Once we have the vans, we have the vans. And we did put 1 more driver into the budget. If we did another driver, we'd just continue to reduce private and go to our own van fleet, which I mentioned has been working very well. Switches E-rate, I mentioned that's $55,600, $38,920 would come out of E-rate, that's 70%. $16,680 would be out of fund balance. If we don't get the E-rate, we'll probably do a switch or 2 at a time. That was a Dan Sherman suggestion, another select board person I'll call out here at the meeting. So we do 1 or 2 switches at a time. We wouldn't do the whole fleet. We just do as part of the capital improvements of our school. Contingency is up to $350,000. The major increase was $75,000 in special ed. Again, that's probably our board, our community's biggest area of worry as we have high-need students move into the district. Challenging to plan for, challenging to budget for, so we have $200,000 in contingency there, $100,000 in regular ed, and $50,000 in maintenance. Other revenue, that's made up of, there's Ron. Our other revenue, that's made up of 3 parts. We share our, Ron and Sylvia, how are you? Good to see you tonight. Hey, Ron, put in a slide for you, Ron. Good to see you. It's made up of 3 parts. The other revenue, first is we share food service director with Freiburg. The second is one of our loans for our high school is called the QSCAB, Qualified School Construction Loan. We get about $16,000 of that interest back. And the other, Colin Erica Hartford, files diesel tax refunds for us that we get back the tax that we pay on diesel. Erica is sitting right back. I was like, I'm going to incorporate everybody tonight. So we get that back. So that's another revenue. Local contribution last year was $7.61 million. Thank you so much. We do try and work very hard with the dollars you give us to provide the best education we can to the kids. We realize trying to provide the best education and be fiscally responsible. And we hope budget after budget we do that. I know a lot of staff members in the room that are working very hard to provide a quality education for your kids, all of our kids. So thank you for your contribution. And this year, the little tiny white sliver that I asked you to make almost invisible, the increase, it's $118,000, I think 856, something to that effect, so 1.56% increase if we were all one community. We're not. It gets divvied up different ways, so the Parsonsfield folks will probably be happier than the Cornish folks, but it's the one slide, get to completely pass the buck, have nothing to do with. So there's our revenue, if you want to see it all listed for the numbers, folks. Again, this presentation is right online if you want to look at this later and digest it later. It should coincide with your budget book very well. To recap some of the major things, the computer lease for 3 through 6 is out of fund balance. SRO, $68,000 out of fund balance. Capital projects are some of our 10-year projects, fund balance. Vans are in case, fund balance. There's the switches broken down 70%, 30%. E-rate, we get the money, we'll expend the fund balance, do all the switches. If not, we'll peck away at them 1 or 2 at a time. Contingency money, other revenue, and there's your increase of 118,856 coming to 14,293. Estimated mill impact. So if we were all one community, Don Isaacs isn't here tonight, he loves this speech. Cut the zeros off, we have that many mills available, 728,200. Take the 118,856, divide by 728.2, 1.56% increase if we were all one town. We are, of course, not all one town, but if we were, $16 on a $100,000 home. We did the breakdown further, and this is in your budget book as well. I think it's one of the earlier pages. State property valuation, here's why. If you look at Parsonsfield went from 183, my eyes are terrible, 183.9 to 183.3. Parsonsfield actually went down in valuation from their 3-year average to their 2-year average. Therefore, Parsonsfield is going to pay less of the share of the increase than Cornish, who went up, looks like, doing quick math, $3.6-ish million on their 127. Cornish went up the most proportionally. Parsonsfield went down. It's the one slide. Maine Revenue Service sets the valuation of your towns. Please contact them. It's the only slide I can say that. That is the agency that sets those town valuations. Based on how the town valuation changes, we get different ratios and proportions of the increase. So Parsonsfield, of course, because when they went down in valuation, they're responsible for $1 on a $100,000 home. That's their impact of this budget. Cornish went up the most proportionally, so they're the highest, up $33 on a $100,000 home. But that's the range, anywhere from $1 to $33 on a $100,000 home. And so someone had a great idea, and I'll call her out, I think it was Suzanne Day, because every year I used to I'm from Hiram, for those of you that don't know, and every year I felt like Harold's usually here. I don't know where Harold is tonight, but every year I felt like Hiram was the worst, right? We'd take, geez, every year Hiram got the worst share of this. But it's not really true. Over a 3-year period, you can see outside of Parsonsfield, so some lucky Parsonsfield folks, this is the 3-year mill impact. Parsonsfield is obviously the best at 13 cents. But the others are fairly close, ranging from 53 cents to 69 cents. So over 3 years, Baldwin the worst, going up about $69 on a $100,000 home. That's been the impact of school budgets here over 3 years. And in the best town, or however you want to look at it, worst, best, whatever, we shouldn't classify it, Parsonsfield's been responsible for an additional $13 on a $100,000 home over a 3-year period. So thank you, Sue. That is a great idea. All right, now I'm going to take you through some of the that's it. We've made it through. We're there. So now we'll just go through some of the additional articles that come at the end of this. These are like the last couple pages of your budget book right in front of you. EPS, Central Program Services Model. There's something called an ED-279 that the state publishes. So the state of Maine says education in your community should be $11.7 million. The required local contribution, they take your town valuation, they set a prescribed mill rate. The prescribed mill rate this year is $8.51. Valuation times 851. When you do that for all the towns, your required local contribution is $6.196 million. Incidentally, that's how the funding formula works. It should cost this much. Your town should contribute this much. We're going to give you the difference. Now, I called them today, special because I knew I had this meeting tonight. There is almost no district in the state of Maine that spends their EPS. It's bare minimum, bare bonus. You're going to see a slide coming. I think it's Article 14, where we go above and beyond the EPS model. But that's EPS funding. Article 13, ADA, that's the high school elevator project, and SRRF, the school revolving renovation fund. That's the walls of our high school. 185, 166. We're asking the taxpayers to approve that. You already have. but that's Article 10, I believe. It's the combination of the 110 principal, the 22,000 interest, and the 52.7 for school revolving renovation fund. That's how you get that 185 from Article 10, your local share of our construction. Article 14, additional local funds. Shall the district raise and appropriate 1.3 million above the EPS model? Just a quick look on the EPS, the ED 279. We're over $1 million short between special ed and transportation on their model. So just those two things alone, and I'm not saying the state's doing anything wrong, but on those two funding from the state compared to what we charge, we're over $1 million short. So additional beyond EPS. Article 15 is the summary. I can handle this one. Shall you expend 14,258? And remember, all along we've been talking 14,293. So, oh, did we goof? No, there's Article 16. There's the other 35. So we want to be fair to you and say you actually are paying that. So that's included in your 118, the 35 and the slide before. So it's 15 and 16. That total, the 14,293 that we keep talking about, is the overall budget. Article 17, authorized expenditures of grants, pretty self-explanatory. Shall the school board be authorized to expend sums they receive from federal, state, grants, or other revenues throughout the year? That's in the budget every school year. Adult education, shall the district appropriate 104,396 for adult ed and raise 77,679 as the local share? Just as an FYI, I think adult ed's been doing a wonderful job. They've been offering some great programming. When you take that reduction in on top of your 118, as a district, we're up 1.45. So that is legitimate. If you pay the school budget, you pay the adult ed budget, we're under 1.5% increase when you take adult ed into account. Contingency, so here's another confusing one. So there's this rule in the state of Maine that our fund balance, our unallocated fund balance, can't be more than 3% of our total budget. This article will allow at the end of this year a sweep into the contingency fund that the board would only be able to access in a true emergency situation, which they would vote on in public, or next year during this process use to offset next year's budget. So this is the establishment of a contingency fund. I want to thank, Colin Bill Stockmeyer. Bill Stockmeyer is our financial attorney from German Woodson. He's wonderful, helped craft this article. I think it's a tremendous idea that will allow us to comply with the state's 3% unallocated fund balance rule. So that's what that article is. That's new this year. And Article 20, regional centers. You may have heard some of this. You may have heard this in the news. You may have heard this on TV. MSAD55 has decided to join through its board, through its superintendent, a regional center, Southern Maine Regional Center with, I'm going to name some, I'm trying not to forget, Sanford, Massabesic, Old Orchard Beach, somehow Yarmouth got in there. We are sharing the purchase of food services, and we're already far along in that model, and maintenance supplies. And it won't hem us into getting maintenance supplies, so I asked a specific question. If we can get paint locally for $10, are we going to be required to, as this collaborative, buy paint for $80 a gallon? No, you can still get off products to save your local taxpayers money. So what this amounts to is, to support this collaboration, the district has been awarded $21,777 in EPS funding. Department of Education is seeking collaboration from districts. Next year, I anticipate the district will receive $40,000 to $45,000 from being in this collaborative model. The board has approved it. It does require local taxpayer approval here tonight, but it is for the sharing of food purchasing and maintenance supply purchasing, and to serve as an incubator for any other ideas that these districts can share as a cost-saving model for their local taxpayers. So that's a new article this year as well. And I think that's it. So at this time, I'd like to call the board back up to their seats. Mr. Stockmeyer back up to his podium, and I think we'll go through the process of hopefully adopting the budget. Thank you all so much for listening. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening again. Before we read each article and vote on it, I'll just briefly summarize what you need to do if you'd like to speak. to the meeting. Please proceed to the microphone in front if you wish to speak. You should use the microphone for debating questions. That does not apply to motions or to seconds. When I recognize you, please state your name and the town that you're from, and state what you propose to do. So, for example, I'd like to amend the article as follows, or I'd like to support the article and here's why. Okay? That way we'll know where you're headed, and then you can say what you want to say. All remarks must be relevant to the motion on the floor. Speeches are not permitted. You're limited to 2 minutes per article each. We'll enforce that as necessary. It's not too crowded tonight, so we may be a little bit relaxed about that. Questions should go through me. I'll pass the questions on to the person who can provide the information. No cross-examination of witnesses here. That's why everything goes through the moderator. Try to alternate debate between those for and against so that the group hears from both sides. And please regulate yourselves in that regard. No one may speak a second time on a motion until everyone else has had a chance to speak. That's just taking turns. If you think debate has gone on for long enough on an article, you may move the previous question. You may say, I move the previous question. That requires a 2/3 vote to be adopted. That cuts off debate. So if you think this is just dragging on too long, you can make the motion to move the previous question. We'll take up each article in turn. I'll read the article. We'll get an affirmative motion and a second. I'll then open discussion from the floor. After discussion, we'll vote on the main motion. If there's an amendment, we'll vote on the amendment. We'll get a second, and we'll vote on the amendment. If the amendment passes, then we vote on the main motion as amended. Okay? Once an article is decided, I'll proceed to the next article. We're going to vote by saying aye and raising your hands. Okay? Except for Article 14, I'll instruct you about that. That requires a written ballot by law. Any questions before I proceed to the business items of the meeting? Yes, ma'am. Why don't you go ahead to the microphone and.
My name is Barbara Wills, Porter, Maine. I just have a question. It's not on the amendments. It's on what has happened. Way back in 2009, we closed our first school, Hiram Elementary. We were going to have a great savings. In 2011, we closed Fred Morrow School. We were going to have a great savings, and we should have. And then we closed Cornish, and then we closed Baldwin. Every single year, the budget has gone up, though. It has never gone down. Where is the great savings? Is it stored away someplace, and we want to use it in the future? I just like to.
Thank you. Is there someone who'd like to address that question? We'll take that as a general question about the budget. Carl?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I can't speak to 09 or Hiram or Fred Morrill. I can speak to Baldwin and Cornish. So 5 years ago when we started this budget process, we were $1.1 million in the hole. So meaning we had passed $1.1 million on to the local taxpayers. So it was through the closure of those two elementary schools that we've sort of closed the gap and made, and I hear what you're saying, there have been increases on a yearly basis, but it has made the increase far more palatable than it would have been with the schools remaining open.
We're now going to proceed to the articles. I'll read the first article and ask for a motion in a second. Article 1, to see what sum, so this is the expenditure side of the budget, Articles 1 through 11 that Carl presented. Article 1, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for regular instruction. School board recommends $4,475,811.80. Do I have a motion?
Move the article as written.
Second?
Second.
Okay, the article's on the floor. Any discussion of Article 1?
Bill, excuse me 1 second, for note-taking purposes, if I could have Arthur repeat who made the motion, who made the second, so we can get in the record. Hang on 1 second.
Just like in a typical board meeting, Mark motions, so-and-so seconds.
Mark Dutra made the motion and John Doyle seconded.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think we're intending Mark and John motion second. Okay, thank you.
And there's no advantage to who makes the motion. If someone wants to make an amendment, they'll have an opportunity to do that. So we won't announce the names every time unless somebody else pops up to make the motion. Okay. So Article 1 is on the floor, regular instruction, in the amount of $4,475,811.80. Any discussion on Article 1? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay and raise your hands. Article 1 carries. Article 2, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for special education. School board recommends $2,565,626.62. Have I got a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Move the article as written.
All right, so we got a motion and a second?
Yes.
Okay. You got the names?
Yep.
Yeah. Great. Article 2 is on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Thank you. Article 2 carries. Article 3, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for career and technical education. School board recommends $0. We could have a motion in a second. I'm going to move right to a vote.
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Okay. Unless there's an objection, we're going to move to a vote on $0. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands. Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. Article 3 carries. Article 4, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for other instruction. School board recommends $384,930.74. Have I got a motion and a second?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Thank you. Article 4 is on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Thank you. Article 4 carries. Article 5, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for student and staff support. School board recommends $1,242,317.11. Is there a motion and a second?
Move the article as written.
Second.
Article 5 is on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Thank you. Article 5 carries. Article 6, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for system administration. School board recommends $520,599.59. Is there a motion and a second?
Move the article as written.
Second.
Article 6 is on the floor. Any discussion of Article 6, system administration? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Thank you. Article 6 carries. Article 7, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for school administration. School board recommends $726,890.60. Is there a motion and a second?
Move the article as written.
Second.
Article 7 is on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Thank you. Article 7 carries. Article 8, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for transportation and buses. School board recommends $1,284,868.85. Is there a motion?
Move the article as written.
Second.
Article 8 is on the floor. Any discussion of Article 8, transportation and buses? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Article 8 carries. Article 9, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. School board recommends $1,766,179.33. Is there a motion?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Article 9 is on the floor for discussion. Facilities maintenance. Since there's no discussion, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Thank you. Article 9 carries. Article 10, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments. School board recommends $1,223,887.43. Have I got a motion?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Article 10 is on the floor for discussion. This is debt service and other commitments. There being no discussion, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Article 10 carries. Article 11, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for all other expenditures. School board recommends $67,732.08. Have I got a motion?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Article 11, all other expenditures is on the floor for discussion. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Article 11 carries. So that was the expenditure side of the budget. The next three articles are revenue articles, and we'll take them one by one. Article 12 is the article that qualifies the district for state matching dollars. I'll read the articles and I'll read the total amount to be raised, and I'll ask for a motion. Article 12, to see what sum, so just to think of this visually, we've done one side, the expenditure side. Now we're going to do the revenue side, the other side, and then we'll be at the total. Okay? So this is the revenue side to match the expenditure side. To see what sum the district will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and to see what sum the district will raise and assess as each municipality's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act in accordance with the Maine Revised Statutes Title 28, Section 15688. The total appropriation is in your budget book in the left-hand column, and the total for the district is $11,734,005.54. The total to be raised locally, and you can see the amount for each of your towns, the total to be raised locally is in the bottom of the right-hand column, and is $6,196,982. And the state subsidy is the mathematical difference between those two columns. Okay? That would be the state subsidy. Is there a motion and a second on Article 12?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Article 12 is on the floor. Any discussion of Article 12? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Article 12 carries. Article 13 raises local dollars for previously approved debt service. To see what sum the district will raise and appropriate for the annual payments on debt service previously approved by the district voters for non-state funded school construction projects or non-state funded portions of school construction projects, in addition to the funds appropriated as the local share of the district's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12. School board recommends $185,166.70. Is there a motion?
Move the article as written.
Second.
Article 13 is on the floor for discussion. Any discussion on Article 13? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Article 13 carries. Okay, Article 14 is the additional local funds. The way we're going to vote on this when we get there is you have a yellow ballot in your hand. Do we have a ballot box yet? In front, okay. We're not ready to vote yet. But let me read the article. This is the additional local funds. To see what sum the district will raise and appropriate in additional local funds, recommend $1,311,815.43 which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by recommended $1,311,815.43 as required to fund the budget recommended by the school board. Have I got a motion on that article?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Okay. Additional local funds is on the floor. So first, any discussion or debate? Questions? Okay, so seeing none, what I'd like you to do is to indicate whether you favor the article by checking yes or disfavor the article by checking no. Now, I'll just mention, some people like to fold their ballots. It really just takes longer to count if you fold it. You're welcome to do that if you want, but you're not required to fold your ballot. What I'd like you to do when you've voted on your ballot is to proceed to the ballot box over there and drop it in the ballot box to indicate your vote. And you can now vote. Not yet voted and wish to vote, could you raise your hand? All right, looks like everyone has voted, so would my ballot clerks proceed to the ballot box and count the ballots for us? Either do it there or take it in back, whichever you prefer.
I'd like to, the day after the vote, May 16th.
result of the vote on Article 14 is 41 yes and 4 no votes, so Article 14 carries. So that's the revenue side of the budget. Now, the total at the bottom, which is really just a summary of everything the meeting has just done, I will read the article. Article 15, to see what sum the district will authorize the school board to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018, and ending June 30, 2019, from the district's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes Title 28, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. School board recommends $14,258,844.15. Do I have a motion on Article 15?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Article 15 is on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Article 15 carries. Now, Article 16 is to raise funds for school nutrition. As Carl explained, this used to be part of the school operating budget just approved, and based upon a request and recommendation of the Department of Education officials, it's now moved outside the school operating budget program into its own program article, if you will. So Article 16, to see if the district will raise and appropriate $35,000 for the school nutrition program with authorization to expend any additional incidental or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the school nutrition program. The school board recommends $35,000. Is there a motion?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Article 16 is on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 16 carries. Article 17 is for state and federal grant programs that are not part of the school operating budget. I'll read the article. In addition to amounts approved in the preceding article, shall the school board be authorized to expend such other sums as may be received from federal or state grants or programs or other sources during the fiscal year for school purposes, provided that such grants, programs, or other sources do not require the expenditure of funds not previously appropriated. Is there a motion?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Article 17 is on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Thank you. Article 17 carries. Article 18 is the adult education program. Article 18. Shall the district appropriate $104,396.76 for adult education and raise $77,679.95 as the local share, with authorization to expend any additional incidental or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program? School board recommends a yes vote. Is there a motion?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Okay, the article's on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Thank you. Article 18 carries. Article 19 authorizes a contingency fund. Shall the district authorize the school board to establish a non-lapsing contingency fund for periods of financial emergency pursuant to Section 1482-B3 of Title 28, and to transfer the district's unallocated balances in excess of 3% of the prior fiscal year's budget as determined by audit to that fund? And shall the district delegate authority to the school board to expend sums in the contingency fund when the school board determines by public vote that an emergency need exists, and to transfer sums in the contingency fund to the district's general fund for use in school operating budgets approved by district voters? School board recommends a yes vote. Is there a motion?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Second. Okay, thank you. Any discussion on Article 19? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Article 19 carries. Article 20 would authorize, if passed by this meeting, the formation of the Regional Service Center, which Superintendent Landry discussed. Article 20. Do you favor the formation of a Regional Service Center pursuant to an interlocal agreement for the Southern Maine Regional Service Center as approved by the governing bodies of the parties thereto and the Commissioner of the Department of Education? Is there a motion?
Move the article as written.
Seconded.
Second. Article 20 is on the floor for discussion. Any discussion on Article 20? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, please say nay and raise your hands. Article 20 carries. I want to remind people that this is the first stage of the approval of the operating budget, which was the first 15, I want to say, 16 articles. And the second stage, 15 articles, and the second stage is approval at a referendum at your polls in your towns. The referendum, Carl, will be on what day?
I'd just like to thank everybody for being here and let you know the referendum will be on Tuesday, May 15th from 3 to 8 p.m. And a shout out to all the town clerks and towns for being here tonight and for opening your polls on May 15th, 3 to 8. Thank you so much.
Okay, 3 to 8 p.m. And your town voting locations on May 15th. Yes, ma'am, before we adjourn.
I just would like to say one more thing.
Go right to the mic, please.
Barbara Wills,
Right to the
Water
mic.
Main.
Yep.
Mr. Laundry, I was quite surprised not to see something in the budget more about the security of our schools, especially in the world we live today. And I didn't see anything about that. Would you like to?
I'd love to if you-
Is there
Carl, you
grants
go
out
ahead and
there?
address that.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I think, go ahead.
That would
Yep.
be great, okay. Sorry, I turned this on 1 second.
Okay, so a couple things. One, I don't know if you can see them in here, we installed all new security cameras throughout the district. They became operational over April vacation, so we were looking at the equivalent of 1950s black and white, and we could barely see what was going on. We installed through E-rate funding a significant amount of new and better cameras in all of our schools, so that's step one. It wasn't included in this budget, we did it this year right now. We've had multiple meetings as an administrative team. We had a tabletop discussion with local police forces, state police, York County Sheriffs, Oxford County Sheriffs. We regularly review our emergency plans, and I think the big step you'll see in this budget that had full board support was the pursuit of 2 additional school resource officers. So I think a combination of check-in procedures, reviewing our procedures with our staff, 2 additional school resource officers, and enhanced surveillance have been the measures that we've taken in our district, Barbara. Thank you.
Okay. All right, well, that concludes the business part of this meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn? Anybody?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, by consensus, we will adjourn. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight.